So Alabama wrapped up scrimmage number 2 yesterday, and with that, it gives us a ton to talk about. But today, we're going to hone in on a position group, but more specifically, a player within that position group, a true freshman that Nick Saban has already praised, one that Alabama fans need to be excited about. And of course, we're talking about wide receiver Aaron Anderson, a very talented prospect, and we need to talk about what he can do for Alabama this year. Before we do, as always, y'all know the drill. I want to hear from you. Hop down to the comments, Y for yes, N for no. Are you excited for Aaron Anderson this year? And let me know what other wide receivers you're really excited to see. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification as I do constant college football content. You don't want to miss any of it. And if you enjoyed the content, like and comment down below, as those interactions are massive for content creators such as myself and being able to grow our platforms. And we're currently on our push to 15,000 subscribers, and I'd love to have you a part of the community. But having said all that, let's hop right into this, because Aaron Anderson was a major win for Nick Saban. Going into Louisiana and getting a player of his caliber is always sweet, and Nick Saban has made a habit out of it. Louisiana is one of the most fertile recruiting grounds in this nation, and it's very difficult to go in there and get some of the top players out of that state. LSU is the prominent college team there, and because of that, it's very hard with the lack of competition within the state. When you look at the state of Alabama, there's Auburn present, which only increases the amount of voices these recruits are hearing from an in-state perspective. Nick Saban, though, has made a pastime out of going into Louisiana and getting the guys he likes. He's been as successful as any coach in the nation at going into hostile recruiting grounds and being able to recruit it as if it's his own state. And Aaron Anderson is no exception. A former LSU commit who the LSU Tiger fan base were rightfully excited about now finds himself as an early enrollee of the Crimson Tide class. And it hasn't stopped Nick Saban from already singing his praises, calling him Little Aaron Anderson because Anderson stands around 5'9", but do not let that fool you. Though he stands around 5'9", he is a compact football player who's not scared to level into somebody and has got so much burst that when he gets the ball in his hands, you must watch. It becomes must-watch TV. So what does he give the Crimson Tide particularly? Well, the wide receiver position group as a whole is one that we need to watch through the spring, into A-Day, and inevitably through fall camp. Because though there's a lot of talent there, there's a lot to prove in that wide receiver room. From all reports, Jermaine Burton is that dude. He is really showing all of his range of ability right now, and he should be in for a massive season. That much right there seems to be clear at this point in time. Outside of Jermaine Burton, though, questions remain. Ja'Cory Brooks is out for the spring, an individual who came onto the scene as a true freshman, showed flashes of the player he can be, and I'm very excited about his potential. But outside of that, there are some unknowns. Trayshawn Holden is someone who has got a lot of ability, and he's been on the roster a while. He understands the system, and if he's able to put it all together, he's a very talented prospect. I'm really high on what he's able to do. Him and Bryce have a really nice connection as well, and I don't think that that can be underscored. But he's not the only one. Tyu Jones-Bell is someone we saw be very athletic, very talented with the ball in his hands last A-Day, not to mention the freshman wide receiver still yet to come. Whether we're talking about Kobe Prentice, Shaz Preston, or Isaiah Bond, all of which are very talented prospects, all of which have got speed, and the Crimson Tide faithful are going to be very excited about. But Aaron Anderson gives Alabama something in the slot that they really need to be excited about. Anderson is that type of games player where you can start moving him around in offensive formation, putting him in motion to not only reveal to your quarterback what the defense is thinking, but also just to get them off balance in general. He is a complete chess piece on the football field, and when he gets the ball in his hands, Nick Saban has already talked about the ability he has, taking a real short pass and turning it into a massive gain. That was really good to hear from Nick Saban, especially when one of the themes we've heard in the wide receiver room last year was lack of explosive playmaking ability and lack of speed. That seems to be something this group right here has, maybe not as much as they would completely like at this point in time, but remember, they're bringing in an entire track team still between Kobe Prentice, Isaiah Bond, and Shaz Preston, so speed is on its way. but that explosiveness is there, and Aaron Anderson gives it to them in that slot position, and that's very deadly. You can pair Burton with Anderson, have them play off of each other with another wide receiver in the mix, and really keep a defense on their heels. I'm very high on that. But the one area of concern we've heard this offseason that we heard last offseason as well about the wide receiver group, last offseason a lot more of the media attention was on Nick Saban talking about speed, but drops. Drops are something that currently haunt Crimson Tide faithful everywhere. But it is nonetheless great that we have heard praises on Kendrick Law and Aaron Anderson. If these guys can come in here, continue to work, that slot position for the Crimson Tide could be an intriguing one. JoJo Earl has got burst ability that is so much fun to watch. He is like trying to tackle smoke. If he can clean up drops, he's going to be a very talented prospect, and it will really be fun to watch if he can clean up the drops, and then you can implement Aaron Anderson as well. The Crimson Tide have very talented playmakers at wide receiver, but things must come to be before that talent can ever be realized. Nonetheless, hearing Nick Saban talk about 2 true freshmen thus far, and the 2 true freshman wide receivers who early enrolled, already impressing, I think is a great place to start. Not to say that the room is complete. The room still has got plenty of work to do. It is interesting to hear him talk about these guys and how they're already kind of impressing. That's a great sign for Tide fans alike. So, very interested in hearing from y'all. Hop down to the comments, Y for yes, N for no. Are you excited about the wide receiver room? But then specifically, tell me about Aaron Anderson, a very talented wide receiver who could be a slot demon. Someone I can't wait to see. That's it.